Hey, this is Jeffrey. Welcome to episode 8 of Malgam. A quick little pre-episode thing. There is no visual for this episode because the camera and the special little drive thing and my computer are not very compatibly nice. So there's no visual for this episode. Also, this episode was filmed in regards to the musical, and it was it's being published after the musical now. So you hear us reference the show in like it's coming up, but it is not coming up. The show has already happened, so don't try to buy tickets or anything. It has already happened. But if you're suffering with post-show depression or you want a little bit of nostalgia, this episode is a terrific episode to watch. So I hope you enjoy.
Hi guys, welcome to Malgam. Hi, and welcome to Malgam.
Have we started?
I'm Jeffrey Martin.
Hey guys, this is episode 8 of Malgam. Today is Sunday, February 20th, and we have some exciting topics today,
We do.
including an update on the Mr. C situation / Ramos / drama / Jeffrey / I'm Jeffrey /
I'm
That's
Andrew
all I had to say.
Garfield.
Andrew Garfield
And I'm
/
Max.
middle
It's
schoolers
just
love
gonna
you.
be us this week, nobody else.
Yep.
Because we,
Us as in Max Jeffrey.
yeah, we're both Max. We represent the multiple personalities in his head.
So to start,
Thank you for watching Malgam. Where do we start?
so
I don't know. Okay, guys, April Fools. We're just kidding. Please welcome Max and Jeffrey to the set of Malgam. Give them a round of applause, everybody. Come on, Andrew Garfield. Let's go. Wow, this is going well.
We do that on purpose. We've done that with every guest. We've purposely made it awkward. Remember with Jonah? I said, "How do you know Jeffrey?"
Yo, he made it awkward with the reporter at the merchandiser the other day because he's like, I can hold my breath for 2 minutes.
Hi guys, my name is Jeffrey. Welcome to Malgam. This is episode 8. We have some special guests this episode. So this is the musical episode because it should be coming around at the time where we could quasi promote the musical, which is happening on the
4th, 5th, and 6th.
The first weekend of March, right?
Yes.
yeah.
okay
First weekend of March.
4, 5, 6.
4, 5, 6 March. Come see it, Hatfield High School. I'll put tickets somewhere, maybe in the bio, maybe in the
free
description. I'll put them in the
tickets?
description. Put them in the description.
Oh, don't promise free tickets. That would be bad.
I didn't say free tickets. All right, so this is Noah Felty. This is Ashley Gage, and on the left, far left is Max.
Far right.
You're far right.
On the far right is Max, and then Hunter's there too. And
Wow.
Noah is the Scarecrow in the musical. Ashley is
Not the Scarecrow.
not the Scarecrow. She's Dorothy. Hunter is the Lion. I am the Tin Man. So there's the main four. And Max is here
I'm
too.
a munchkin.
And Max is Uncle Henry. So, welcome to episode 8. So there's a lot of directions we can take this episode.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell
A
us?
lot of directions you can take this episode.
It's your
But-
episode.
It's my episode, so I get to do what I want with it. And my last episode was pretty in the feels, but this one is gonna be more, hopefully, upbeat. And this one also, is gonna be shorter because attention spans and our worst viewed videos are the ones that are super long. So that's a thing. For some housekeeping.
And so that wraps up Malgam for today.
For For some housekeeping things, there was a situation with Mr. Saraceni, and I made a post about it on Malgam, and Mr. C was like, "Hey guys, I saw Malgam. I want to talk to you guys about it." And so eventually we got around to talking to him about it. And he had some pretty awesome feedback. It wasn't anything bad, which we thought it was going to be because of the whole Ramos debacle, but it was actually pretty positive stuff. He was talking about how he really likes the direction that we took Malgam and how like the focus of it all is the relationship between Max and I, and he said it reminded him a lot of the relationships that he had with his friends as a kid, like phone call conversations. And he did give a pretty logical warning when it comes to talking about some sensitive topics on Malgam and how we should kind of avoid that, because whether or not something is possible, something you can or can't do, doesn't necessarily mean that you
Should do it.
All right, so since we have the cast on here, it's only fitting to talk about the musical. So we just had Sits Probe last Saturday.
We did.
Hunter,
Oh.
tell us, what is Sits Probe?
Sits Probe is when the cast...
I changed my mind.
Okay.
Ashley, tell us what Sits Probe is.
Sits probes when the cast.
I changed his mind. Noah, tell us what Sits Probe is.
Sits bro.
Sits Probe. Sits Probe is a German word.
Meaning,
What does it mean? What does it mean?
It means
up.
Sits Probe.
What does it mean, though?
look it up.
Sits
something
Probe
German.
means
Yeah,
it's
this
the
iPad
first
here.
time that
No,
the cast
because
sings
Ramos
at
would
the
always say,
piano.
like, it means German for something. It's like a German word, which means something, but, like, I feel like someone...
Well, but like the
Vondelbro.
actual like meaning is like when
I
the
think it means
cast
completion or, like, the cycle of something. I feel like that makes most sense to me. Cause
Okay, but the musical's far from
or like,
over.
well, yeah, but I don't
So
know.
have tech to go through.
It's going well for you. Do you need me to look it up?
My
You have so many
Wi-Fi
tabs
connection
open on your
isn't very good.
iPad.
Sits probe.
Am I gonna get to it before you?
Probably. It's literally just loading.
Sits probe is a German term used in opera and musical theater to describe a seated rehearsal. Okay, well that's not. It probably was something more
So it's like nothing to do with the pitch.
No.
It's just a seated rehearsal. Okay. Oh, I got it. It showed up now.
Oh, is that the Wikipedia definition?
No, it
Is
says
that
where
right?
singers sing with the orchestra, focusing attention on integrating.
Oh, okay,
harmony
boom.
and something.
There you go. And now look at what is the other one? Zetter probe?
Wandel probe?
Wandel probe?
Yeah,
Wandel
Wandel
And
That
then
word
yesterday
makes
he
me
said
uncomfortable.
quasi-bundle probe.
That word makes
Well,
me
that's
really
because he was just saying like
Yeah.
we
We
weren't
didn't
fully
have- yeah.
dancing.
It's-
What is
Okay.
Wandel probe?
It's a wandering rehearsal.
it's with
is
a
when
W.
when the orchestra and singers
Have a go.
have a go at an opera, usually in a performance space where the singers can add in a loose version of staging.
Okay.
This says it's a video game.
Publisher Yeats.
Publisher
Yeats.
Platform Android.
Good to know. During the very inception of Malgam, we talked about how we could possibly take it in the direction of like a gaming channel.
We did?
Yeah, we talked about that.
He's lying.
I don't remember
no,
that.
you're just a liar.
I remember that.
Wait, I don't think.
And why is it
I don't
not?
think we talked about the channel being a gaming channel. It was like.
Oh, we're gonna do
sex.
something. It could be
Yeah,
this, or
like
we could have a
different-
segment. Yeah, a segment where we have
Yeah.
gaming.
And this episode of Malgam is on pathological lying.
I'm looking at what that means. Pathological.
Well, that was not at all spelled
It's
right.
gonna take me another 20 minutes.
Do you actually,
to look at
wait,
that
do you-
word.
Do you actually not know what it means though?
Well, I have an idea.
It was a joke and nobody laughed. Let's just. What's the next topic?
Hunter's not funny.
Today, so,
So we
with
were
that
at
being
six-
said, today
so
we're gonna game.
No.
What are we
So were
playing?
at Sits Probe last week. Yesterday.
What?
Yesterday.
Yesterday.
What are you talking
Well,
about?
what? No, it wasn't.
Depends
It
when
was
you
yesterday.
It
start
was.
and end
It
your
was
week.
last week. It was
All right.
today's
Well.
Sunday.
Well,
We were at Sits Probe yesterday, and Sits Probe is always a rough stage, but it's a necessary one. It's one that I always kind of like resent, even though Ramos calls it his like favorite holiday. I don't really like it because it's always just painful and stressful, and it's kind of like it kind of sets a mood like, oh, the musical's gonna like crash and burn, even though like we eventually get better. So I'm pretty sure that we're gonna be fine. But
We will be.
we will be. We'll be perfectly
Yeah.
fine. And I heard rumors that Cody. No, I'm not going to go there.
Oh.
Nope.
I'm not going to go there.
No, wait!
I'm not going to go there.
sensitive
no,
topic.
no.
Sensitive
I mean,
topic.
I also heard that next year's musical is Heather's.
That's Oh
Which
my
one am I?
God.
Who am I in next year's musical?
No, it's
I know
Fame
the.
Two,
Fame
Talent
Two.
is Eternal.
Not.
I wanted to do Les Mis. this year.
I thought it
we
might
had
be
a-
Les Mis this year.
I thought we would have had a good group for Les Mis.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I was gonna be the guy who sings the one song. I don't even know the name of the characters.
All right, you're the guy
Empty
who's...
tables, Marius.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh,
know?
you would be a good Marius.
Looks like a Marius. I don't know.
Hey guys.
I know when I was going for Tenardier EPAC, Cody had said, I thought about you for that if we did it at Hempfield, but then we never did. And I was like, okay.
Is Cody quitting?
This is his...
Whoa, 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 whoa,
I-
whoa, whoa.
From what I hear, allegedly it is his final year. And
But
he
he-
says that, so that's not...
Because he said that. I picked up
He says
hints.
that every year.
He
But
said this year. He's like, don't get me like fired before I quit or something like that. He was like, he also let it slip that like it was gonna be his last show, and I was like, is like this legit or is it like Miss Stewart?
he said it enough times now that I think like
I think he's. I think
he
it's
said
legit.
that last year and the year before that. And he was like, "But you guys make me stay in
No,
it."
that was Stewart.
No. Beauty and the Beast year. He said that.
Really?
He told me he wanted to stay, and I was like, okay, so
people
stay.
thought he was leaving my freshman year, and then he when Mudrick got up to give his goodbye speech, Cody was just sitting there like, and I was like,
So actually, Mudrick's got pushed back by Gumbel. So Gumbel was the band director before Mr. Saraceni, and Dr. Mudrick had the current position that Mr. Saraceni has, where he was like the music coordinator of the entire district, or I don't know the actual title, but Dr. Mudrick was in charge because he'd been with the program the longest, and he was he wanted to leave, but then Gumbel took like this long shot job interview at Westchester, and he was like, he had no intention of actually getting it. He just kind of like threw his dice in the lot, and eventually he got offered to come back, and then he actually eventually got the job to be the athletic bands director at Westchester University.
oh, wow.
So that's where he's currently at, but he still lives here, so he takes like an hour commute every day. So I don't know, because his wife used to teach for Hempfield too, so I don't know if she still does or what's going on with Miss Gumbel. But regardless, that kind of screwed Mudrick, because Dr. Mudrick wanted to end on Phantom,
That would have been good.
because that would have been like a great like final like hurrah, it's
Yeah.
Phantom, but he ended on Mary Poppins instead.
It's almost the same, right? There's like... No, I don't like Mary Poppins.
ouch, ouch.
As a show, I don't
Regardless, so Mudrick's his finale kind of got
Tarnished.
tarnished by Gumbel leaving, and then Cody's by Dr. Mudrick's leaving, and now Mr. C will be leaving. No, I'm kidding.
I was about to say.
I wonder if Mrs. Wilson actually wanted the position, because I feel like she also wouldn't want the. We won't go there. Regardless, that was the whole.
Okay.
This feels weird now because like we can't talk about a lot of stuff. We have to talk about like big topics rather than like interpersonal topics, which is a good thing, I guess, because it's like catering the audience to a broader audience rather than like people we know. But at the same time, it feels weird. It feels less personal.
No one we don't know is gonna watch this.
That is true. So we could take this in a direction where we talk about the musical and leading up to our show, what we've done so far, what it actually takes to become to be a lead in the musical. Because I have always wanted to be a lead ever since I started being theater, because that's the ideal that I always kind of wanted. Mark, my brother, on the other hand, didn't. Mark wanted to always be an ensemble. Like, he wants to always be an ensemble. He doesn't aspire to be like the main thing. He wants to be like in a laid back role where he's like, I don't have a ton of responsibility and I don't have a ton of like whatever. I'm just kind of like in there along for the ride, having fun with everybody else. Like, that's where he is like ideally placed, which is not me because I'm more ambitious. But I
Okay.
that's not like a do my own horn. It's just it's a matter of fact.
Okay.
Regardless, there was a lot of stuff that came with being a lead that I didn't actually expect that would come with it. So, Ashley, I'm curious, what roles did you have in the past? Because you're the youngest among us.
Like anywhere or like at
Let's
the
say
high school?
at Hempfield.
At Hempfield, I was Mama Bear in Shrek Jr.
Oh, yeah.
I was Elsa in the canceled production of Frozen Jr.
Right.
I was Mabel's understudy in Fame, and I had one line. And I am now Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz.
Yes.
Shoot. So
Look at that glow. Look at that.
what a path to fame. So, what did you find most difficult or most noteworthy about this year, especially being the the main.
Like, what do you mean? By, like what,
being the main.
Being you're the character who has the most work out of all of us. You're the most. You have the most responsibility as a character in this musical.
90 O's to say. So.
Yeah, so many O's. It was terrifying at first, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, I remember. So first, okay, let's start from like the beginning. So I first heard we were doing Wizard of Oz when they announced it in like the notes of the meeting where they like discussed it.
Yes.
Like the school
So
board
before
meeting.
the actual announcement.
So before the actual announcement,
Okay.
I knew what we
That's
were
how
doing.
I saw it too.
Yeah. And I was like, I want to be Dorothy. But I also was kind of like, I don't know if I got Dorothy. Like, yeah. And then okay. Okay. So, I started working on Over the Rainbow at my voice lesson. So I was like, I want this. I want to do this. But I still like wasn't sure. And then I auditioned, and I thought my audition went very badly because it turned out I was getting sick.
Okay.
And I thought I sounded like so awful, and I was really upset because I thought I'd been doing the song really well, like working on it. But I did get a call back for Dorothy, so I was like, okay, like, it's okay. And then I was very sick the day of callbacks.
Dang.
Like, I was miserable. But I thought it went really well. And so I was like, okay, like, even if I don't get this, I'm very proud of, like, what I've done. I thought I worked really hard for this. And then I got it, and I was like, okay. And then I just remember, like, the first, like, lead rehearsal, and the first, like, rehearsal, kind of, like, that one rehearsal, like, before we started, like, you know.
With Ramos?
Yeah. Yeah, the little, like, yeah. And I remember being nervous for that, too. But I was, like, super nervous going into the lead rehearsal, just because I didn't know any, like, I knew you pretty well, but no one else I knew, like, super, super well, and being kind of, like, this odd one out. But then by the end of rehearsal, I was like, this is so much fun. Everyone's so cool. Everyone was, like, so nice to me.
Yeah.
And consistently, you've all been, like, so nice to me.
Yeah.
I know I'm a whore.
But it's still, like, scary because I feel like I have this kind of, like, pressure on me, sort of. And I know I don't, but, like...
No, you do.
But I do.
That's great.
You know, because, like, there's a lot of competition for the role. And I just feel like I, like, can't let anyone down, you know? But, like...
Sure.
But it's also been, like, such a great time.
How much time do you commit to the role outside of rehearsals?
Leading up to the start of rehearsals, I was off book by Act 1. So I was basically doing, like, reading through lines every day. And I was working on, like, one scene at a time and just repeating it over and over until I had it memorized. And then I'd do, like, the next scene, then, like, read first scene, next scene, like, do that. Then I'm always, like, working on the music in my voice lessons. And then for Act 2...
Who do you take voice lessons with?
Jessica Day at Creative Pursuits Academy.
Big corporation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they used to be Creative Pursuits Studio, now there's Creative Pursuits Academy. It's
Okay.
There
the
could
whole
only be
thing.
one CPS, and that was Child Protective Services.
So now there's...
Jeffrey, I swear to God, I'll walk.
All right. Okay, preparing for it. So then I was kind of, for Act 2, I was memorizing, like, over the weekend for the scenes that we were doing that week. And I noticed, like, as I was working on it more, I was getting better at memorizing. Like, I'd read through a scene, like, 3 times, and I'd have it memorized. But then even that eventually started to catch up to me, and I was pretty much memorizing, like, the night before, and, like, during the school day, like, whenever I had a moment, I was, like, pulling my script out and, like, reading stuff. Which definitely, I could tell as we were, like, doing scenes, I was, like, calling line much more, and... Yeah, but
Because
I
it's
have
like
an insane amount of lines though. Like
Yeah.
any other lead that I've like seen or experienced is
Yeah.
like it's nothing like Dorothy. Like she's on stage for all but 2
Yeah.
scenes in the show.
Yeah.
and I was really excited going into it with it being a more heavy dialogue role because I'm much more confident in my acting than my singing. And I was like, I love doing plays. I'd rather do a play than a musical, I think, just because I feel like it's less taxing. I feel like most musicals are so heavy it's and movement, and you're singing, and you're like it's a
That's
lot.
true, yeah.
Whereas if you're in a play, it's at least like the plays I've done, they're very pretty, like not as like difficult, I guess. I don't
plays
know.
you've been in.
All right, I did. I'm trying to think.
Oh, jeez.
It's like, let me pull out my
Oh my guys, pull out my resume. My first play I did, I was 12. It was called 5th of July. I played a girl named Shirley Talley, who was a 14-year-old, and it was very much a play for adults, and it was very heavy dialogue, and just there were no scenes. It was just like Act 1, Act 2, and just kept talking. But it was like so much fun. Like the role was so much fun. It was an interesting experience, but it was a time. Then I did interpret that how you will. Then I did 2 productions of A Christmas Carol with the same company, Serpent Stage Company. I played Child 2, and then I played Child 1.
Nice.
Look at that upgrade.
That was actually a super cool play because it was 8 characters, and everyone but Scrooge played like multiple roles. So I was playing like Child 2 was like a narrator, but also and so Child 2 was like a narrator, but also like Martha, who's one of like the Cratchit children, and Scrooge's sister, and like all that kind of stuff. And then Child 1 is a narrator in Christmas Past. So real big upgrade there.
How big is this cast?
It's 8 people.
8 people.
I just said that. So, and that, like, some of the most fun I've had in the show, and, like, just, like, constantly moving and constantly, like, doing stuff. Because it was also, like, minimal sets and stuff. So, like, at one scene, like, it would be, like, a table, and then it would be, like, a chair, and, like, you'd move all the stuff around. We all were, like, moving set pieces. It was super cool. And then, when I was 13, I played Anne in Anne of Green Gables, and that is about the same caliber as Dorothy as far as, like, speaking, and very similar character. When I first started reading the script, I very much was like, I sound like Anne when I do this. Like, I sound like this character, and that's kind of like finding Dorothy and not being so much like this other character. But I feel like that prepared me a lot for all the memorization that this has taken.
Do you have a family who's like involved in theater that like?
Sort of. So my mom was always very like into theater growing up. Like, she was always seeing like Broadway shows and stuff, and she did like her high school shows. But that was about the most, and my dad, like, played drums, and that was about, like, the musicalness of my family. But my mom would always, like, play, like, musicals for me, and, like, I watched Wizard of Oz religiously as a child, and, like, Sound of Music and Annie, and, like, all that kind of stuff. So I just always kind of grew up around it.
Okay.
But my family was never, like, super involved in it until I was like, I want to do theater, and here we are.
Final question
All right.
for Dorothy. What's your dream role?
Oh,
If not Dorothy.
The Phantom.
that's it. You got it. I'd love to be Emma in The Prom.
I've never heard of that.
All right.
All right.
That's fine. If that's your
yeah.
answer, it's fine. I've just
Yeah,
never heard
I
of
think that's a pretty big one for me. No.
Have you heard of that?
I mean, like, heard of it, but I don't know anything about it.
I think that's probably my biggest one right now. There's definitely more.
Okay.
Maybe like any of the characters in Spelling Bee.
All right, now your turn.
All right.
So, you're the Scarecrow. You are the main male lead of the musical. Well, here's the thing. It's hard to kind of gauge that because there are, like... Well, she's the main female
I'm
lead.
engaged. Never mind. I should gauge. Sorry.
That's my last
Continue.
name.
Carry on. Just keep going. Okay.
Sorry,
I am the Scarecrow.
So in The Wizard of Oz, there's the three male leads, and then there's Dorothy. And Dorothy's the obvious main female lead. And then there's the 3 male leads. And I think that the play's written as having Scarecrow be, like, the main male lead. But, anyway. So you're the main male lead. That's my elaboration on that. What did you think about, like, what are your noteworthy things when it comes to being the Scarecrow, when it comes to learning lines and characterizing your character?
Notable as in, like, different than what it's been before, or...
Notable as in things that you would note. Things
Okay.
that, like, art, that don't come, like, naturally, like, an inside perspective.
Scarecrow, I was excited to play because of his physicality, and I think that, like, I've played roles before where you had to embrace, like, a different kind of physicality, but the Scarecrow is, like, so different in that, like, your whole movement changes as far as, like, nothing you do is stable, and it's really interesting to, like, to explore that as in, like, choreography, for example. Like, you have to learn it so that you know how to do it right, and then you need to then add into, like, how much of it can I mess up so that the choreography is distinguishable, but looks like the Scarecrow doing it. So it's been really interesting to have a role like that, because most of the time if you have a role like the Beast, for example, where it's entirely different physically, he doesn't dance or anything, so you're not really having to, like, incorporate that aspect of it. But with the Scarecrow, it was really interesting to try to dig into that. Also, he's just like, I was excited for Scarecrow as a last role because this is just a feel good show, and the Scarecrow is just a feel good character. He's very like I think all these characters are very likable, and I think that's exciting to play, and like not have to be somebody who's too relatable or like too like dreary or dull. And it was exciting just to do an energetic character to go out with a feel good show kind of thing.
Okay. So you've played two we'll stick with that, realistic characters, meaning Bert in Mary Poppins, and you played Nick Piazza in Fame. These are relatable, real characters.
I mean, Bert's like...
Well,
I get what you're saying. He's a human being.
You played two fantastical characters, right? You played the Beast in Beauty and the Beast, and you played a Scarecrow in The Wizard of Oz. Do you prefer, you think, to play, generally speaking, a real character where you can like act to be a human, or a fantastical character where it's like I feel like you have more liberty with a fantastical character?
I've been lucky that I think I've had a good like balance, because I remember like after... Well, I don't really remember what I wanted after Mary Poppins. Bert's a fun character and one that I would like to play again. Now that I feel more confident in or I have more fun dancing and like things like that. Mm-hmm. He's a very song and dance character. It'd be fun to try that character again with more confidence. But he being like a human, real character, and then wanting to explore more of the fantastical, I got the Beast. And then after the Beast, I was like, I want to play a character who's more like real and like act like a human being. And then I got Nick, and then at Nick, I was like, I could use somebody who's not Nick anymore. Or like the opposite of Nick. And then I got Scarecrow, and he was like not even alive. So.
What was your least favorite of the four? Would you say it's Nick?
Yes, but that doesn't mean that I disliked Fame, like,
that's fair,
at all. Like, I very much enjoyed Fame, but as far as the character themselves, Nick was definitely my least favorite, because I feel like every character in that show was just not, like...
Weird. Mm-hmm. Fame was just a weird show, but...
It's a weird show, but it was a lot of fun.
No, it was a lot of fun. It just was a weird show for a weird time.
And the characters...
Time too,
yeah, the characters are, like, almost... like well written, but like not. You know,
like, but also doesn't help when you can't use any of the original content, because we had to change Can't Keep It Cool. We couldn't talk about drugs during the Carmen stuff. It was just if it was done at a place where like we could use all of the original content from the book, I thought it would have been cool.
Yeah. Also, just the way like even if we did have those heavier content, like that heavier content in it, Fame is written in such a way, like we talked about this while we were doing it, that the scenes, it's like you get a scene with one storyline and then you jump to the next and then you jump to the next, and you have like 3 scenes to develop your character. So it's like you follow these
crazy.
you follow these students over 4 years of high school, and you have to, like, we as people change a ton in 4 years of high school. Like, I'm an entirely different person than I was freshman year. And having to show that in 3 scenes with pretty bad dialogue and then things taken out is like, it's like insanely difficult.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
And now we have Wizard of Oz, which takes place like the span of like a week, and you have to show character development of an entire show.
Right, but it's easier in that you're on stage like almost the whole time. So like you have scenes to develop.
Exactly.
Yeah.
To draw it out.
Yeah.
Talk to me about your dance background.
There is none. I've danced in all the shows I've done. Well, not all of them, but in the shows that I have required dance, I have danced. But outside of that, I took some lessons with Cody over this past summer, but that was it. Like before that, I didn't take any dance classes. I guess if you count like dance theater 2020 and then the little bit of dancing we did in Fame, and that's like my experience with dance. I'm gonna leave. God. So yeah, that's all I got with dance.
Favorite show you've done so far?
Just musical I've done so far, or
as opposed to like dance theater. Are you including dance theater in that?
Well, I guess we never did a dance theater. So.
Exactly.
Are
you clarifying?
I don't know.
Favorite show you've done so far?
I don't really know if I could pick.
Okay, that's fair.
Could you give me like favorite show I've done in regard to like something specific?
No.
No? Well then
Dream
I can't
role.
pick. Dream role? Well, like I said, I'd probably want to try Bird again.
Oh my god.
That would be your dream role again?
Probably.
Okay. All
right.
But
I'm not like, for being somebody who's been so heavily involved in musical theater, I feel like I'm not a musical theater person. And we talked about this.
Yeah.
Like, I'm somebody who does musical theater, but I'm not a musical theater person. So I cannot go out and like list to you a bunch of shows and like the characters, or I don't like go and listen to musical soundtracks and stuff like that.
I think I fall under the same umbrella.
Yeah, so I don't really have, like, there's not a role I can think of, except maybe, like, I'd like to do Les Mis again. I was Gavroche, like, third grade.
Third grade?
In Florida.
Damn.
And my dad played Jean Valjean on the national tour of Les Mis for a lot of shows. So that'd be a fun show to do again, just because I have, like, that childhood, like, nostalgia from it. But, so maybe Marius or Bert again.
All right. All right, Max? No, I'm kidding. All right, Hunter. Let's hear your. So Hunter is once again the cowardly lion in The Wizard of Oz. Tell us about your background when it comes to this role in particular, and any noteworthy things you think that are notable when it comes to learning the lines for this role or developing this character.
Okay. Well, I'm like Ashley, kinda. I used to watch this movie every day, every single day. Like I could like say all the lines, like I knew them by heart.
Okay.
And so I knew at some point, like once I started getting into theater, I wanted to do The Wizard of Oz. And so when I was in second grade, my cousin's high school did Wizard of Oz, and she was playing Dorothy. And they were like, we need kids for the Munchkins. I'm like, oh crap, I'm doing that. Because I was second grade. I'm like, obviously, I'm going to go and I'm going to...
So this is your debut.
I was also a Munchkin.
I was also a Munchkin.
Mount Gretna.
That's where it all
We've all been Munchkins.
So we've all been Munchkins.
yeah, my cousin...
We Munchkins right now, guys.
My cousin was playing Dorothy, and the one day she's like, hey, they need Munchkins. I know he loves the show. Have him come in, let's do it. So I auditioned, and I got in as just like a regular Munchkin. And then like in the little rehearsal, they're like, we need a mayor of Munchkinland. I'm like... I'm going to do it. So I auditioned. It was like one of those little like, okay, sing this part of the song and let's see what you got. Because second graders, like what can you do with second grading? So I went in and I sang my little song and I was nervous. I was like nervous. I was like, I need this part. And then the next day rehearsal, they announced it and I had gotten it. So I was the mayor of Munchkinland. I was like, holy crap. So it was really exciting, especially for the second grade meeting. I'm like, I am going to be star of this show. Like, I am going to like outshine Dorothy. Exactly. So, we did it and I had my little lines. I sang my song. I was like, yes. And then that was when I was really like, I want to continue to do this. And so I like have done a lot of shows over the years, but I knew eventually I wanted to come back to Wizard of Oz at some point and do it as like a more heavier character in the show, a more influential character. And so when I found out we were doing it at Hempfield for senior, I was like, yeah. So it's like a full circle moment.
It's a whole
really
cycle.
Fun.
Aww.
It's crazy.
Ain't that adorable?
It's crazy.
So with Lion, is that the character you wanted going into this musical?
Yes. So actually, okay. So I was between two characters going in, the Lion and then the Wicked Witch of the West. Just because of the shock value of having a guy play the Wicked Witch of the West. And so going into auditions, we had to fill out the little sheet, and I put Lion I put the three guys because I was just like, I'm going to put all three down, just see what happens. But Lion was first. And then I put Wicked Witch at the end it was kind of to make Cody and Ramos laugh. Because I was like, if they see I put down Wicked Witch, they're going to like, oh, that's funny, but we're not going to do it. And then he came out with the callbacks, and I got called back for the Lion, the Scarecrow, and the Wicked Witch. My jaw hit the floor. I was like, what? And he was like, we want to see you back for the Wicked Witch. I'm like, okay. I read for Miss Gulch once, and they were like, okay, we don't need to
but it was funny, but what we don't understand though is that it was so good. Like his reading for Miss Gulch was like incredible, and I think they just needed or wanted him to play the line more.
Yeah,
but it was so good. Like,
I think it honestly was that they just needed me for the Lion more.
And Macy is doing an amazing job at the Witch.
She is.
She really came out as the Wicked Witch, and she's really showing how.
No, I was nervous. I was like, Macy's the kindest, like most gentle person I know.
Yeah,
but she's doing so good.
Same thing. Yeah. She's doing phenomenal.
So well. She's doing so well. Yes.
How do you prepare for scenes and for stuff coming up to it?
Well, so it's kind of hard, especially within like the high school that we're at, because the arts is held in pretty high regard. I would say it's pretty important to the school. So I'm in like dance theater as well, as you guys are as well. So
Noah, myself, and Hunter are in dance theater.
Yes. So it's like it's definitely difficult to balance multiple rehearsals each night, especially when you have to come in the next day knowing new material. And I think you can all agree that it's not easy to be at rehearsal till 9:30 and then come in the next day knowing your lines. So I just I'd go home after rehearsal and I stay up late. I just work as hard as I can to try and make sure that I know what I'm doing, and I have an app It's called Line Learner. It's fabulous.
Love Line Learner.
See? you record all the lines into it, and then it says all the lines except for your own, and then you can like say your own line and however you want to do it. So, but it's just staying up late and a lot of commitment. That's what it is.
It's almost like I did an entire episode dedicated to the stress of being involved in the episode 6. Go watch it right now. I'll put the link in the bio.
It's a good one.
Anyway, I looked into Line Learner at the beginning because this is like the first role I think that I've had like. Oh, it's the biggest role I've had so far, in terms of lines at least. And I looked into it and I saw like the price of the app and I was like, that is not big of a deterrent. But then I saw you had to enter in all your lines and I was like, I'm not gonna do that.
That's the most annoying part.
Honestly,
like in the end, it's so helpful for knowing all of your stuff because you have it right in your phone.
Yeah, it's nice to like have it anywhere because you can like be anywhere.
Just pop in
like,
your earbuds.
Yeah,
do your
listen.
thing. But yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of memorization for all 4 of us.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
If I have a Dorothy role, I'll use Line Learner.
All right.
If I have like 2 scenes I'm not in and like a ton of or if I have a Sean role. Actually, if I have a Sean role, that probably wouldn't help.
It
very
wouldn't
much.
help.
No,
Yeah,
it
'cause
wouldn't.
you're just talking.
So Sean is the wizard, and Sean is a very unique role, I think. Or the wizard's a very unique role because he has almost no scenes that he's in except for like 3, and in those 3 scenes he has like 2 or 3 full pages of dialogue.
That's crazy.
Like these are monologues that Sean has, and he's like doing a phenomenal job at coming into rehearsals and knowing what he's doing. Like it's an amazing job. But he's just such an odd character.
He plays like so many different characters in that show. It's like Professor Marvel, the Wizard, Oz, like the head.
Shoot,
it's like
I
all
didn't
different
think about
characters.
that.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Now, Max has a role that's very akin to my role last year, where you have some scenes like kind of sprinkled throughout, and you can switch to roles throughout when you're not playing that character. So Max is Uncle Henry. So he has a scene in the very beginning in Kansas and a scene in the very end in Kansas. And then all the rest he's an ensemble. So Max, tell us about the being Uncle Henry.
It's very relaxed. Like
Yeah.
I'm not under nearly any stress at all. Like I probably just don't take it that seriously, but there have been times where I've had to like look at lines.
Stop! Hunter, what's your dream role?
Oh, I was wondering. I was like, are you gonna say? Probably Sweeney and Sweeney Todd. That's one of my all-time favorite shows, and I want to play it so bad.
That is my dream role. Is Sweeney Todd and Sweeney Todd.
Sweeney Todd and Sweeney Todd.
That's title character. All right, Max, continue.
Thank you. For that.
I don't have very many lines, so it's pretty easy to memorize it.
Yeah.
But
Honestly,
I
I feel like I
procrastinate a
don't know.
lot, so I like learn my lines the day of or the day before.
No, I literally do the same thing, and I'm the scarecrow. Like before, well, it's because like we are
'Cause we
extremely
don't have
busy.
time.
No, we have
Yeah.
musical
It's just-
every day, and we have dance theater
Exactly.
every day, except for maybe save for like 2 days off or 3 in the month, and we have schoolwork on top of that, which doesn't always get done. But
I mean, it's not a bad thing. I mean, we do
No,
it because
I-
we love it, but it's just
Episode
like
6.
no,
it's
I
crazy.
very much plug episode 6 where Jeffrey elaborates, and Hunter and I are both principal dancers in dance theater and leads in musicals, so it's like involved in things, and so it's also hard to have like we very much enjoy both of those things, but it's hard to have so much content in that regard. So it's like you have all this choreography to keep in your head and all these lines to keep in your head and the blocking for scenes and so much of it I feel like I just can't, like if I start to review it I get overwhelmed, so I go out there and I just kind of it like just comes back to me. But the Scarecrow also doesn't have like, I feel like the 3 of us we have lines, but it's not like a ton. Like Dorothy has like a bunch of lines in every scene, but we're just kind of there. Like we're important, but we're just kind of there saying a couple things here and there. Like
important support characters.
Yeah.
We also get prompted, I feel, a lot. Like, I
Right.
feel like she or like Uncle Henry or the wizard prompts us for what we're going into next.
Yeah.
And then it, like, jogs remember. She has to just remember everything
Yeah.
that... Because, I mean, she
That's
slips
very
up and
true.
it's like...
That's a big part of my
pressure.
my line learning is not instinct, but like being in the situation.
just like what makes sense.
Yeah.
What makes sense to
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of like I'll be panicking before a line, like I'll know like, oh, this scene is happening. Specifically, in the one scene where we are all fixing the wagon and then Ann M comes out and she's like, what are you guys doing? And I'm like, oh frick, I have a line here, what am I supposed to say? And then she accuses me of being lazy, And then I'm like, oh, we're just having a little fun. And, like, it makes sense to say that. And then eventually she's like, go join the circus. And I'm like, oh, there's my next line. So if you watch the music, it'll make more sense. But it helps me come up with lines in the heat of the moment, because I learn my lines about 40 minutes before the rehearsal. I have to learn the lines. And then I'll review it in depth further. And I'm probably the person who's on the book most for the entire, like, production. Like, I haven't seen you, like, ever use your book. Like, you always usually come into rehearsals. I'm referring to Ashley if you're on Spotify. I haven't seen you ever, like, really be on your book for in rehearsals, unless
it's really impressive to have a sophomore come in and have this massive role and just never need help.
I've also been doing it for so long. Like,
well, yeah, but still, like, it's different to come into that kind of role in that specific environment if you haven't done it before, and, like, do it. And also with, like you said, the pressure with everybody and, like, the competition you had. Like, I felt the same way for Mary Poppins. I felt like everybody hated me for a while, and then
I heard that.
Yeah.
I heard everyone was like, "Who is this freshman coming in?"
That's
But I mean, that's understandable, because if a freshman came in and took the Scarecrow or the line, I'd be pissed. I'd have been. I'd be
here's
mad.
my
Very angry.
So we're dissecting this idea that there's this, that when you're casting a musical, there's upperclassmen who expect to have lead roles because they've been in the program the longest. They expect, like, I have the most experience in this kind of field, and I've paid my dues to the program. I want to be able to reap the benefits of being an upperclassman and having a role. And then there's the director side of it, who's often like, I want to put on a high-quality production, regardless of your age, regardless of whatever. If you deserve the role, you're going to get the role. And dare I say the word seniority? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My personal perspective on this is I think that the quality of the show is what matters the most. I think that if a freshman does come in and takes a role, like, that they deserve, I feel like that's awesome. Good for them. Like, it's going to, like, huzzah for the program. But I feel like specifically in your situation, when you were Bert, you took the role as a freshman. I feel like a lot of people were petty about that, and I feel like that's more the bane of, like, the upperclassmen not putting on a good of a show and then being upset and whining about it because they didn't get the role they wanted. Like,
yeah, I remember in the callback there was somebody who will not be named that when I would do the scenes before them, and then they would copy my actions, like, verbatim. Like,
I bet I know exactly who it is. I'm not gonna say it, but I bet I know exactly who it is.
I don't even know if you know this person. We'll talk about it later.
Well, then there's somebody else I have some more to say about.
No, but yeah.
Max and I always do this thing every year, and I think we talked about this before, where we try to predict who's going to get what role before the actual cast.
Everybody does that.
But we write it out, and then last year we actually bet on it, but we didn't bet money. We bet our favorite candy. Mine was gumdrops. I forget what yours was at the time.
No idea.
Regardless,
I won. Betted on who on the musical casting last year.
We did, yeah. We did.
Let's hear it.
And I won. Well, okay.
Oh.
Do I still have it?
But I did the same thing for Beauty and the Beast here, because I remember I was walking around Michael's, and I sent you a cast list. I was like, this is what I think it's going to be. I'm talking to Noah.
Wait, no, it's
those
for
of you on
fame.
Spotify.
for those on Spotify.
But the Beauty and the Beast year, I sent you a cast list, and you were like, yeah, I think... We, like, agreed pretty much on everybody.
Yeah.
I have done that, like, every year. Even for, like, the Hempfield musicals that I was not in because I was not in high
Really?
school.
Because, I mean,
was like, this is who it's going to be.
I feel like during the callback, it's pretty easy to tell who's going to get who, because they get into a system, I feel. Because, like, for example, the Wizard of Oz callback, like, every time we would run the quartet scenes, it would always be Jeffrey as the Tin Man, Noah as the Scarecrow, Ashley's Dorothy, and me as the Lion.
Well, not every time. Sometimes they'd, like,
I mean,
throw it
but
off.
pretty much every...
You kind of you get a feeling. Yeah, after enough
Yeah.
scenes and callbacks, you see the patterns.
Yeah, it was, like, pretty much every time, the last time we would run the scene, it would be the four of us. And walking out, I was confident. Like, I was like, it's going to be the four of us.
Well,
Like, I was...
last year I wasn't at the callbacks.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was...
Oh my god, you were on Zoom!
Yeah.
I had
remember
COVID
that.
at the time of the callbacks last year, so my callback was on Zoom in my garage in my house, because, like, that's the room I have the most, like, space to move around and stuff. And that was a huge handicap, and it's super annoying because, like, in a callback you kind of play off of the actions of everyone else.
Yeah.
Like, if I saw Hunter do a specific thing, I wasn't called back for Lion. Oh, let's say Scarecrow. If I saw you do a specific thing for Scarecrow that I like, I can copy that in a scene and be like, oh, I can borrow that idea. But you can't do that when you're on Zoom and you can't see anyone else's audition other than your own. So I got called back last year for Nick, Shlomo, and that was it.
Just
we were called
and
that
the
for
teacher.
Or not Mr. Myers.
Nope.
Mr.
The other
Shynecloth.
teacher. Yeah, you got the other teacher.
You got Shynecloth.
Oh yeah, I was called back for Shynecloth too. So I was called back for 3 male leads, and I really wanted Shlomo. That's who I wanted because I'm like a musician, and I was like, oh, I really I could do that for like euphonium. I could do that for baritone. I could do it for euphonium. I could do it for trombone. I could do it for piano. I could do like I could slay that role. Stop saying slay. Mr. Ramos is getting to me. I really wanted those roles, but then when I was doing the one song for Nick, do you guys remember this?
Yes.
Yep.
I messed up the lines, and I said the second verse instead of the first verse. And then I stopped, and I was like, let me go again. And then I did the exact same mistake the second time.
I felt so bad for you.
Dude,
I
felt so bad after it. And then I was like, because I had rehearsed that line, like I rehearsed that role so much, way more than I ever did any of my other roles that I ever like auditioned for, because I really wanted to try last year. Regardless, the segue I was going into was with the whole mentioning of like what we did last year was I was going to say there were a lot of good candidates for Dorothy, and Max and I had no idea who was going to get Dorothy because we thought that all of them like really deserved it.
I honestly didn't know.
I think I put Ashley.
I don't remember who you put.
I put
Check.
Ashley.
I remember Hunter
messages.
when Hunter and I
I know.
talked about it.
But-
we
Oh, I knew.
Here, give me
I
your
knew.
phone because mine is in the middle.
While we're on it, for fame, these are who, I'll go with who Max thought and I'll put who I thought. So Max thought that Hunter was going to be Shlomo.
I wanted it
Yeah.
it was literally down to me and Michael.
Yeah,
and
I thought-
Cody came up to me afterward. He's like, Michael plays instruments, so. And I mean, I can't
You
blame
did
him.
amazing as Joe, though.
I can't blame him because
I feel like you would have been way
but-
better as I feel like it was
I think it could have
well.
been interchanged.
I felt like it could have been interchanged too because I felt Michael gave a really good Joe callback.
Now that I think about it, he could have done Joe well.
But I was very happy with the casting. I was just happy to get a part.
Yeah.
Honestly.
So, Max put Nick as Noah, Tyrone as Nobo. That was pretty much a...
He was the only one called back. Do you remember that? He's like, I wonder who Tyrone's gonna be.
the only one called back. Yeah.
Iris, Max said Larissa Schaefer.
Really?
Mr. Myers, Jeffrey. So I wasn't called back for Mr. Myers. They had me cold read that. They also had me cold read 10
2
minutes.
years in a row.
But that just shows that Cody trusts you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure. Or that I'm really good at cold reading stuff. And then for Shine Conf, he put Jacob. That was pretty obvious, I think. Joe, he put Michael. Lamb Chops, Macy. That was correct.
Yeah.
Mabel, he put Mackenzie. Mackenzie Toole.
Oh.
And then for Serena, he put Laura Claire.
Mm-hmm.
Carmen, Jade. Goody, Colin, also correct. Miss Esther, he put Angela, which was also correct. I forgot who Miss Esther was for a second. And then for Miss Bell, Madison. Boring.
Okay.
So that I could have seen that pretty
Yeah.
anyway. Why did I black all mine out?
Because
Oh,
you
here we
want
go.
to see it.
Yeah. So for me, I've said Carmen was going to be Jade. Correct. For Nick, I said Noah. Correct. For Serena, I put Laura Claire. Correct. For Shlomo, I put Michael Agatas. Correct. For Joe, I put Hunter. Correct. For Tyrone, I put Noah Baritone. Correct. Then there was Jack Zakowski. Do you guys know who Zach Zakowski is?
That's the white version.
The white version. So Zach Zakowski was so Tyrone Jackson was a character who was it was kind of a race dependent role. You kind of had to be black in order to play Tyrone because that was like part of his upbringing, and like he
It's written into the role. basically.
it's written into the role that he has to be like a stereotypical kind of like black whatever. And the optional, like, you can opt out that role for a illiterate Russian kid named Jack Sikowski, who I feel like he does something. He wasn't a dancer. I feel like he was a completely different like character, but
I thought it was the same. He was just Russian. I never read
maybe,
it. But
I
was
don't know,
just
but like that would have been very interesting to see how that played out. Then for Mabel, I put Cameron. Correct. Iris, I put Larissa Schaefer. So we both thought Larissa was going to get that. For Grace, I put Caitlin Her. And then for Goody, I put Asian long-haired freshman because I didn't know who Hunchin was at the time.
And he had long hair at the time.
oh my god, that's terrible.
Hunchin did do really good with.
Hunted did really well.
I didn't realize all those people were called back for. I didn't
Yeah.
realize that. Wait, who did you put down for Jack? Did you ever say you?
Oh, I just put not in musical.
Oh.
So why'd you even write?
I remember that year. That year, I was really anxious about callbacks, and I had a whole list. I wrote down everybody who got a callback, and I was like plotting
The theory, you put the whole detective.
Well, that's what I
What's
used
this
to
whiteout you used here?
Yeah, wait.
For Mr. Myers, I think I put myself, and then I was like, no, Darren's gonna get it.
Darren.
Darren DeVario, yeah. And then for
I
Miss
miss
Greta,
that
I put
kid.
Madison Boring, and then for Mr. Scheinkopf, I put Jacob.
So there were a few that were.
Madison, we both thought that Iris was gonna be Larissa, and then Madison was gonna be.
Yeah, because he won, so I had to give him gumdrops.
Are gumdrops really your favorite candy?
That's
They
what
are.
I said.
They are.
They're so
I-
gross.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
I don't
I
think
mean,
they're
she's
gross,
not
but
wrong.
they're not
Yeah.
good.
I like them.
I like gumdrops.
I had
Yeah.
thought. Do you remember? You know Chloe Boyd.
Yeah.
She had been called back for Iris that year, and I was counting on her getting it.
Really?
I thought, yeah, it was so weird. I was like, "Girl, you're gonna get it," and
Huh.
then I was wrong, and I was like, "Wow, I didn't see that coming." Because I don't know. There's just something inside of me that
I
was
guess I
she's
could see
getting
it. No, I can't.
I guess it was just. I guess it was just after I saw her, because for the Tyron and Iris callback, didn't they do like a little combination or something for both of them to do together?
Sort of.
I don't know. After the callback, I thought it was her, and then it was
me
Lily.
too.
But Lily was great. So
Opa. Anyway.
stole your water, girl.
No.
What? Did I miss something?
I just took her water. Another news.
Did you make predictions for this year?
Yeah, of course.
But
Wait.
we didn't bet on it this year.
We-
But should we
Yeah,
should
do
we
you
go
have-
around and
yeah, can you
see
say
who
your
we thought?
predictions?
Because I have mine on my
Here's
I don't
phone.
have mine written
thing.
down, but I remember what I.
What are we at? What time? Because I don't want to run too late.
Just tap on it.
It's
Oh,
50.
fine. Okay. Here's the
Well, my
thing.
phone's in the middle. Did I send it to you? I think I
Yeah,
did.
you had to send it to me. Here's the thing. I forgot what I was gonna say. Never mind. I'm so bad at this. So for a musical for this year, this is what I said.
Oh no, I messed up this year. Remember? Because
Yeah.
I thought that the roles were.
Oh yeah, that's why
Yeah,
we didn't
that's
bet on
why
it
we
this
didn't
year.
bet on it.
Because we bet on it as if the guard was gonna be also the wizard, and if Uncle Henry was also gonna
No,
be
the guard.
Yeah, Uncle Henry and the guard were gonna be the same person, and
Glinda.
and
Yeah.
Annie Ann were gonna be the same person. So we messed the whole thing up. Regardless, I said that Dorothy was gonna be Cammy, and I said that I was gonna be Scarecrow because I felt very confident about it. I thought that Tin Man was gonna be Sean, and I thought that the Cowardly Lion was gonna be Noah, and then I thought the Wizard of Oz was gonna be John Rossi.
The way you were so wrong on everything.
And then I thought that the Wicked Witch was gonna be Hunter, and then I thought that Glinda was gonna be Annie,
Okay.
and then I thought that the guard was gonna be Max / Uncle Henry was gonna be Max, and then Max thought that oh, he just circled it, you lazy little junk.
But I was so right.
You said Ashley was gonna be Dorothy.
Yeah, and I said all of you three. I think.
You said that Noah, Jeffrey, and yeah, you got all of the main leads correct. Boom, there you go. Then you said the Wizard of Oz was gonna be Becker. You said that Glinda was gonna be Cora.
I did.
Yeah, Cora Kutch. No, Kutch. You said no. Sorry. You said the Wicked Witch was gonna be Cora.
That was controversial.
You-
Probably,
I
we probably
dare-
shouldn't. We probably
Dare
shouldn't.
we bring that up?
No,
I don't
no,
think we
no,
do.
no. I don't think
Stop.
we do.
Stop. Cut here. All right.
Yikes.
So we said the Wicked Witch was gonna be Cora. We said that Glinda was gonna be Liv Anderson.
Really?
We didn't do the mayor and everything. We thought the guard was gonna be. You thought the guard was gonna be Emerson.
Yeah, I didn't want to give myself.
I did
Emerson
too.
had a really good callback.
I thought.
I also didn't want to give myself a role.
No, I thought he had the best guard callback. Personally.
Emerson had a really good callback.
I thought he had the most
I
character
thought-
out
I
of
thought-
everybody.
John did the song the best, and then Emerson did the scene the best. I think is what I thought for the
Yeah,
guard.
he just had more character. I think. I don't know what it is. Emerson did.
What? No,
Jeffrey.
no
Why?
offense to Max. Is that what you're saying?
Jeffrey was spitting or something.
You good?
I took too much water and so I was expecting to just be a little bit and then it's too much anyway.
Tell me more. I want to hear more about this.
I looked over at Jeffrey while he was talking, and he was going. I was like, "Are you okay?"
I was like, did I say something repulsive?
I'll clip it.
You gotta zoom in.
I don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
You don't?
No.
I know how to do that.
I don't know how to do that. Max,
I'm not
dream
gonna
roll.
tell you. Dream roll. See, here's something that I think I have a disadvantage. I never wanted to be in musicals until 9th grade.
Really? Why?
So I just never thought of it.
No, why did you want to be in 9th grade then?
Oh, because I was friends with you in 8th grade before the musical, and then you convinced me to audition, and then I got like my first role or whatever, which was just like Papa Bear.
I have something to say. I developed like Max's character. Like,
yeah, but I don't know yours. I developed yours.
The reason he is the way he is.
I mean, marching band. All your friends from marching band? That's me.
Okay, but what have I done for you? List it off. 100 things.
Is this where Malcolm ends for good?
I've sent you into...
It's our podcast now.
So we're taking over Malcolm.
Sent me to a cycle of depression where I didn't know what was meaningful in life.
Because he didn't know how to critically think. He followed blindly. He had
Watch
no
episode
critical
6.
Anyway,
do you want us to go through our predictions?
Yeah, can we
Yeah,
see
you
ours?
go for it.
I'll go first. Okay. So I am obviously very passionate about the musical. So I get a little bit crazy the week of auditions.
Okay.
Noah and my group of friends can confirm. I remember one of the examples of this, and I'm not proud of it, but last year during Fame, I got a subscription to Broadway World to watch Fame. And when some people who were called back for the same characters asked for my subscription so they could watch it, I said no so that they couldn't have an advantage. A lot has changed since then. So anyway, I just exposed myself there. Wow. Anyway, back to the Wizard of Oz prediction. So for Dorothy, I said Ashley, obviously, Scarecrow, Noah, Jeffrey, Tin Man, me the Lion. I thought Glinda was going to be Chloe.
Okay.
Okay.
Going into, I don't
okay.
know, it's just weird. I thought that John Rossi was going to be the Wizard of Oz.
Same.
Okay. And then Annie, I predicted for Aunt M. I thought that Sean was going to be Uncle Henry.
Okay.
And then for Miss Gulch / the Wicked Witch, because they're the same person, I put down Macy or Julia Bono, because I thought she had a really good
I
callback.
also thought that
I thought she had a
Her
really
witch
good
melting
callback.
scene was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I like quote that line like randomly in my life. Like before we even like.
Well, I'm
before-
melting.
Yes, I'm like I'm melting. Oh,
feel like everyone's-
thought a good little girl like you
that's
could
pretty
show my
iconic.
beautiful wickedness.
All right, Ashley.
Okay, should I do mine pre-callback or post-callback? Because I
care.
came up with 2.
What
Do
we did-
both.
We did
Do
All
both.
right, I did
we
my-
how they changed
I
it.
did-
We did post. We only did post.
Okay.
No, we did both.
But
I'm
let her
curious,
do both,
I'm
because I want to
curious
see how
now.
they changed
Okay.
in between.
So, okay, I didn't like write these down, but I like remember. So Dorothy, I thought would be Cammy or me. Scarecrow, you. Tin Man, you. Lion,
Really?
you. Or
For
I
those
thought
on Spotify.
Oh yeah. Anyway,
She got it right.
right. Lion, you. Or I thought you might be the witch. And I
Okay.
thought then John would be the lion if you were the
Which
witch.
I feel like that was shocking to everybody, because everybody's
I
like,
thought he was gonna get a call back.
crap.
Wait,
And then-
John.
John.
Oh, this is before callback.
Yeah.
Oh,
Before
okay.
callback.
Never mind.
Wait, so
John.
pre-callback, you guessed I was
Pre-callback.
gonna.
I
might
guessed you
get
would
the
be the
witch.
witch, yeah, because you were great as Ursula. And I thought that's like what Cody kind of picked it for. Yeah.
Look at that.
So, and then for Glinda, I thought it would be Annie or possibly Cammy if I were Dorothy. And then if Cammy were Dorothy, then I might be Glinda. And then Wicked Witch.
Phrase.
Oh, that's the Malgam catchphrase.
I do what I want.
This is my podcast.
Wicked Witch. I thought it would be Macy or you. And then Wizard. I don't really know who I thought, but I think I didn't consider the wizard before callbacks. And is that everyone? Oh, Uncle Henry. I also didn't really consider. Or the guard. So
She's like irrelevant.
I thought about who was relevant to me. So
True colors of.
no. But I thought they might be like double cast. So like
Right.
Glinda and
Sure. Okay.
Oh, I also thought that Cammy could be Annie M. That's, yeah.
Yeah.
Because then I thought she might be dance captain. And I thought if she was Glinda or the witch, like, she couldn't also be dance captain because
Yeah.
Glinda and the witch can't be in any.
And there was no dance.
There was no dance
And then there was no dance captain.
Because there's not a lot of.
There's
not
not a lot
really
of
no
dancing.
dance.
I mean,
There's
I guess
like, what,
if we're claiming a dance captain, it is her.
I mean, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and then after callbacks, I thought it would be me or Macy for Dorothy. All of you, as you are. Then
Scarecrow, Tin Man, and Lion for those at Spotify.
Then Glinda, I thought would be Cammy or Annie. Witch, Cora. Annie M, Annie. Uncle Henry, you. Guard.
Max for those on Spotify.
For those on
Spotify. For those on Spotify, it's Max. Then guard John, because I didn't see Emerson's callback because I was learning Glinda stuff.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, they
Yeah,
had you
that
do
was
all
the
the
thing.
read
Dang.
it.
Yeah, I called sang Glinda.
I called sang.
Then they never had me read. And was that everyone?
Sure.
So close enough. All right. What did
Do you want to do yours if you want?
Yeah, Noah.
I don't even remember, to be honest. Well, no, I remember telling you I thought you were Lion, as in Hunter was Lion, and Jeffrey was Tin Man.
I remember talking in your car after callbacks. We were like,
Were we?
yeah.
Wait, no, I remember.
It was
Yes.
raining. We were
Yes.
like, okay, so what's the T for senior? So like, let's get this out of the way.
And then I thought I got Scarecrow, and then for Dorothy, who did I think before I talked to Hunter? No, for Dorothy, I literally did not know.
There were a lot of good options.
No, because here's what I thought.
Yeah.
Back to the whole seniority thing, I did not know how that would work with casting, because I know
Right.
like this show was picked with certain people in mind for things, and I didn't know, and so I was like, I could not tell you who I thought got Dorothy. Like I sat there listening to all like the Dorothy sing, and I was like, I don't know. I was like, I really don't
You know
know.
who did really well? JD.
JD, she
Yeah,
sang
yeah,
so
exactly.
well.
Yeah,
I didn't
sounds
even
so
know
good.
JD
Yeah, it was
Impressed me.
amazing.
And she's never done a musical before.
Yeah.
She really
And her
impressed
lines
me.
are really good too. I actually no, she might have been. I might have said JD, but then she didn't read at the end. I have a callback, so that's why I was like, so maybe it wasn't JD.
Because by the end, I mean, it was the same. It was the
Yeah.
four of us: Scarecrow, Tin Man, Lion, and Dorothy.
Okay, all right.
That's the,
People on Spotify don't matter that much.
That's a new thing. Whenever something's not clear enough, you say, and for those on Spotify.
But yeah, like I mean, I felt like it was kind of obvious for all of us at the end because we were just kind of like, okay, they're having us read together as the same characters again.
Yeah.
But it was weird because the very last time we read, they had me read as Scarecrow and you read as Lion. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
They had us switch once, and then they were like, okay,
They were
switch back.
doing weird things. Like,
Yeah,
I was
like because I
because
remember
we read the lines so many times for
I-
so many characters.
during callbacks, I got upset and worried at one point. There was one point I was a little worried because you guys, I had done the witch scene as the Scarecrow, right? Because I was called back for the Scarecrow and the Lion. I had done the witch scene as the Scarecrow, and I think I did it once as the Lion, and then they took me out, and I was sitting on the risers, and I watched you three as your characters that you have now, but then they put Dane in as the Lion, and
Yeah.
at that point I was like, oh,
So you just like
crap.
can't read into those things that much. Like it's
Well,
you
yeah,
there's some things you can
but-
tell, but like if you read into it too much, then you end up. Like,
It was that one time because I was just like, okay, they're all reading for the same character, but he took me out. Like, what does that mean? But I feel like that's just like basic anxiety of like,
Yeah,
oh crap,
like-
like what's going on?
Yeah.
But I mean, I felt pretty confident leaving.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're
That's
good.
you.
And
my
then
bad.
I thought for which, well, no, because then I didn't know because of all the Dorothy's. I think I walked away not knowing who a single female role was gonna be.
Really?
Like I was except maybe I thought Annie for NM, which ended up being the case, but
Yeah.
or that was also dependent on who else got cast. I was really just unsure of the female roles, and then I thought Sean got Wizard of Oz or Uncle Henry too, because I wasn't sure Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a
He's
blur.
that kind of character.
No, yeah, because Sean's like he's very good with like I don't know how to describe his acting.
It's almost like a live action cartoon character.
Yeah,
Almost.
and with
Yeah.
voices
You know what I
and
mean?
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Deep masculine kind of things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Any of the masculine characters,
You know, I
the
thought
testosterone characters are Sean.
I thought Wesley would be Toto.
I want to
Now
go.
that's a hot take.
I want to go down the line real quick and say what you're most confident in theatrically, whether it's singing, dancing, or acting. Ashley kind of already gave hers away,
Yeah.
but
Oh, me first? I don't know anymore.
really,
Definitely not dancing.
okay.
I think dancing is lowest. I'd say I'm pretty average with both singing and acting.
Are we ranking them? Are you sure? we rank
Sure,
them?
yeah. In 1, 2, 3
I'd
order.
say I'm like a regular person. So I don't think I would.
Well, you said you didn't know any more. So does that
Yeah,
like you
I-
got better at one, or like you just decided?
I
you
just don't know
weren't-
how to distinguish what's good from bad anymore.
Okay,
Yeah,
Alright, that's
that's
fair.
it.
Yeah.
Hunter.
I guess for me personally, it would go singing at the top, acting in the middle, and then dancing.
Okay.
I don't know. It's just I feel most confident with the singing. Not that I don't feel confident with everything else.
Yeah.
It's just singing is.
That fits what I would predict for you.
Yeah.
For me, acting, singing, dancing. I'm
Okay.
not a confident dancer at all.
Yeah. That was me. First half of high school. I would go acting, dancing, singing.
Okay.
I don't feel
Really?
very confident in my singing at all.
Really?
Really?
Yeah.
I would say mine is singing, acting, dancing. So, is that the same as yours?
I did singing, acting. Yeah.
Yeah, boom.
But you all have dancing at the bottom of your list.
Yeah.
Dude, I feel like
Yeah,
that's
but
not a
it-
surprise. For
No,
me.
it's not.
Yeah.
I was just observing.
It's also not, but like the thing is, like doing it in like 1, 2, 3 order is not always completely accurate to who you are at the moment, because you could feel very similar with acting and singing, or singing and acting and dance. Like there's so many different combinations.
Okay.
Like, so putting them in 1, 2, 3, like yeah, you can put them in 1, 2, 3, but it might not be accurate to how you actually feel.
Sure.
About
That's fair.
the rankings
Yeah,
and everything. You know. Yeah.
For closing remarks, because we gotta wrap this up.
for the viewers.
For those on
For the
Spotify.
maximum.
We
This
did
is
not
Spotify.
get scandalous this episode. We didn't get scandalous at all.
Well,
Two comments.
there was
Two
like
comments.
a couple things that we'll see.
Open for interpretation.
We avoided contentious topics. That's what we did.
Contentious, good word. All right, so why theater? There's a stigma, I think, that theater is kind of like a
Nerdy thing.
nerdy. I wouldn't say nerdy. Like it's not nerdy.
Outlandish.
Weird.
Really outgoing, kind of like an odd thing. But like, regardless of that stigma, what is it about theater that you enjoy? Not like convincing people to do it, but like, why do you do it? What joy do you find in it? What is it that you? Why? What's the gas? And I'll give a moment to think.
Man, you're congested.
Dude, I'm so bad.
Bane mask.
Very bad. All right, and we'll start with Noah.
That's an easy one for me. I'd say the community, like the people. And so at the end of last year, I was thinking I'm 100% going to go audition for acting colleges, and that's what I'm going to do. And then I thought to myself, and I was like, well, what I've enjoyed most these past 4 years has not been the actual musical or the actual dance theater. And while I very much enjoy those things, and that's like that creative outlet has been a massive impact on my life, and I'm very much a creatively oriented person, it's been the community, and like specifically at the school, like the people you meet and the friendships you make, that have been the most memorable thing for me. So while I really appreciate the art form and I love it to death, and I hope that I can still have that in my life moving forward, what's been most important to me has been the people I've met and the friendships I've made and the relationships. So.
That's awesome. Ashley, I see you nodding a lot. What do you say?
Yeah. So for me, I think it's getting to be someone who's not myself.
Okay.
I was always like incredibly shy growing up, and I still am. I've gotten a little bit better, but still so many times like you guys are all like talking, I'm just kind of like sitting and nodding, which I'm fine with because that's like how I am. But I think getting to go on stage and be someone just completely different, like with Dorothy, and like when I was like Anne in Anne of Green Gables, like just so outgoing and like not like me, getting to just like not like be not myself for like a couple hours. It's really cool.
Can I comment on that before you go?
Yeah.
When Ashley was cast, and it's like we have these 3 very outgoing male presences, and as the leads,
What are you talking about?
what do you mean?
I don't know what you mean.
We're very. I feel like sometimes our character or like actual like real life character types can be a little bit like hard to approach. I was
Overwhelming.
yeah,
almost.
overwhelming. Yeah. I was like, this could be bad. Like I hope that Ashley feels included like the whole time, and I hope that like I hope it's not weird to like fit into that mold. But I remember from the start like it was easy to engage with you, and then it was easy to continue to do that. And like even when you describe those moments where you're like just sitting there listening to our conversations, or like just not talking a whole lot, like I can see you're actively like engaged in our conversations. And I thought that was something really cool about you from the start, was that you're very present in everything you do. And I, as somebody, like I never saw you as like your stereotypical like shy person. I was worried that would be the case, or that I was worried, because that's always a challenge for somebody who's a younger person coming in and doing something with 3 people who have sort of like been in this program or like established themselves with like in the past. And so I just thought it was really cool that you were not at all like that, or not at all hesitant. You very much put yourself out there, and we've all like we don't ever feel uncomfortable in rehearsals. Like we're all pretty close now, so
Yeah.
it's a cool thing.
Yeah, and thank you guys for, I've said this earlier, but like including me so much. And I was like super nervous going into this.
Yeah.
And you all have been so like good at like including me and
It's
being
easy.
nice.
It's
And
easy. You make it easy.
thank you.
So to you.
Mine is a little bit different. So obviously I like, the friends and everybody that I made in the community. But for me, it's the rush of dopamine that you get from like the audience reaction. So I was never really popular growing up, right? So I was this kid who liked theater. I didn't have a lot of friends growing up. I went to a small Catholic school. So the odds were pretty much against me at that point. But when I started doing theater, it was like I was in front of a group of people who were there and wanted me to be there and wanted to see me succeed, but also were giving me positive reinforcement for it. So it was like the dopamine rush and the excitement of the audience response is really what does it for me. It makes me want to keep going.
To go off of that, I think that's why we call it, or Ramos calls it post-theater show depression. I've always just called it like post-show blues, but I don't think we should call it PTSD. That seems a little bit like not good for
some rehearsal moments could cause PTSD.
This is fair. But what I was going to say was, I think that's one reason why it hits so hard after a show, because there is nothing more validating than getting your bow and like a whole like crowd of people. And that's why I'm really excited for this year, because it's going to be a packed theater each time. Everybody there is there. They paid to see you. They paid to like experience you make art. And that's an experience and like a feeling that you don't get anywhere else. It's like I play soccer, and like even in the moments where I like do something really cool in soccer, or I like make a key like crucial save, it never compares to like musical and that feeling of having an entire audience there to watch you perform and then validate you at the end of it. Like that's an experience unlike anything else.
I think it's also just the pure size of the pack.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
1,500
Yeah, we're very
seats or
fortunate
something.
to have a performance space like that.
And that was so weird for me because when my freshman year, I went to Lancaster Catholic. Obviously, you guys have all heard the horror stories. We did our show in the gym, the old gym. Like they set up like folding chairs, and you could fit maybe like 80 people in the gym, and you did the show, and it just wasn't. So it was just like not a good experience overall. And then I came to Hempfield, and it was the first year that. I mean, it was Beauty and the Beast year, so it was before pandemic, and we had full houses. And I remember coming out and bowing as LeFou and hearing that crowd, like, because I was like used to like 80 people being like, "Yeah, that was great," but like coming out to 1,500 people screaming I cried. The opening night of Beauty and the Beast, I cried. It was crazy.
I think I'm gonna cry like every
It was
night
insane.
after.
Especially now our last shows. There will be tears. There will be tears.
Especially
Yeah.
that last scene. Oh my
my
god.
Sunday
God.
night, adding sevenths, changing lines. It's gonna be
Adding
great.
sevens.
Max.
I'd say it's probably just like what Ashley sort of said, just like morphing into someone else. Not necessarily because it's not me, but because it's just like a challenge of seeing what I can change my brain to be whenever it's like putting a mask on and stuff. And then also it's like the stage thing, because like that's pretty great. But
I think you
It
learn a
feels
lot
so
about yourself.
good.
Yeah, no.
Like you can't like explain the feeling unless
Yeah.
you're there.
Yeah.
and do
no
it.
one will get it unless they're actually in
Yeah.
the theater.
Exactly.
That applies to a lot of things, I think.
I think it's a very similar feeling to marching band.
I agree.
After you're done.
Yep.
But also I feel like it's even more intense during musical. Because marching band, you're on a field. You're very far away. Musical, you're right. Like you.
Musical
can
is
see.
very like it's more of an individual thing, I think. Whereas
Yeah.
marching band's more like we are a unit. We did the show together.
Which is why it's so unfortunate when like sports people are like, theater, blah, or anybody
Because they don't
understand
understand
that it's like it feels great when you
Yeah.
finish a
It's-
show and the audience
And
is
it's
there
a ton of
screaming
work.
for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Like it feels incredible.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm
Yes.
always just kind of like, when I hear like people on the football team being like, "Oh, being in musical's easy." I'm like, is it? Is it? Yeah.
But before we move on, what Max said
I
about
like how you've interrupted everyone. Oh, sorry. You followed up everyone. No,
Yes.
continue.
you said also about morphine. I think that's something like you learn, like not only are you challenging yourself, but you learn a lot about yourself with
Yeah.
each character you take on. And that's not just something that people say as in like this abstract creative person that's just like, oh, like you're going to learn a lot about, you're going to connect like deeper with yourself. Like it's true. Like the more you explore what you can become, you kind of understand more about yourself and who you are as a person and become more confident.
I feel like with that, sorry, just interrupt. I feel like while you're learning about yourself and learning what you can do, you also are learning your boundaries and your limits. And then
Yeah.
you can take that and like capitalize on it. Because I remember, like I usually am the comedic relief, obviously. So I use that kind of type almost, like a type of character. And I always go for that. Like I go for Thenardier, LeFou, like all these characters that are the comedic relief. Because
Yeah.
I know
Ursula.
that's, I've had practice doing that. I feel like you can do the same. Like you've done more serious roles like Nick, and the Beast was more serious no matter if you were in prosthetics or not.
Yeah.
But it was like more serious.
Some serious pain.
So I feel like you have really capitalized on being a more serious and more like dramatic type, while I'm more of the outlandish kind of comedy, big, you know.
I feel like for me, I almost play like a different version of myself. Like I feel like with the roles I typically play, I'm like the sidekick, or I'm like the kid who's like, I'm in a show with all adults, and then I'm like the child character, or I'm like Dorothy, or I'm Anne, or I'm like something like that. And I almost feel like I'm with those characters, like it's like my personality if I were like 10 times more outgoing. So like how kind of like I was saying, like getting to explore that, like this is kind of like how I would be. And I think that's why it's so easy for me to play those roles, because I'm like, I'm just get to be me, but like 10 times bigger.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And kind of what you were saying with like friends and stuff, like I'm my most like I'm like my most outgoing when I'm like in rehearsals and like talking to people who are like just like me, and like and obviously I'm still just kind of like nodding along, but like people who are just like silly and like not ashamed to like be themselves, and I'm like, this is like so much fun, like that I get to like do this.
Yeah.
It's
a very
the
cool
best
environment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How about you, Jeffrey?
That's my favorite thing anyone's said all of tonight. That's awesome. I like that. Do I want to go? What time is it?
No, I'm making you.
It's my episode.
Hour
You have to
15.
go.
Come on, let's do
Let's
it.
do it.
Let's do
This has
it.
been some good conversations.
Yeah,
in
I
here.
think
Let's
I think
do it.
people
Alright,
like this
alright.
episode.
This is actually really fun. I could keep going on
I
for
know,
another
this is
hour.
so fun.
So,
Part 2.
Episode 6.
Episode 8B.
so I don't consider myself done, and I look up to every single one of you, regardless of age or experience. But I look up to you, and I'm constantly trying to learn from you guys, because I view myself as the underdog in almost every situation. Whether that's dance, whether that's acting, or even if it's singing. Like I'm constantly trying to like be in a mindset where it's like I'm not as good as people around me, and there's stuff I can learn from those people. Like even you, even though I have like a bigger role in the musical than you, like a lot of the stuff that you do acting is, I'm referring to Max. A lot of the stuff,
Those of you on Spotify.
a lot of the stuff that you do, to punctuate your lines in the way that you like most see on the stage. Like I literally, like Noah's with me in the wings. I laugh almost every single time, and it's genuine. It's not just like, oh, it's my friend, I'm supporting him. It's like you're doing an amazing job at that role. Hunter, you do an awesome job playing a character on and off the stage. Like you're a dramatic person by nature, and it used to be the most annoying thing in the world, and I hated you for it.
Really?
I genuinely hated you like almost all of
my God.
Beauty and the Beast.
Really?
Yeah, but now I got to know you, and I got to like see the other side that wasn't just like the I'm Hunter and I'm like putting on a show for people on and off the stage. I saw the, hi, I'm Hunter, I'm a person, here's why I'm doing this stuff, and here's what I want to do with the stuff and the skills that I'm like learning. And I think that's a very like beautiful thing, and it's a thing that has helped me. It kind of teaches you a lesson about people, that everyone has stuff going on behind the mask. Regardless.
It's very
That's
true.
really funny. I never would have guessed that.
Yeah.
I like didn't even.
Yeah, but regardless, like you, I think of all of us, I feel like you're gonna go the furthest with this, because one, you're the most dedicated to it, and I also think that like you put on the best show. I feel like you know what you're doing in the environment of theater, and you know what you want, and I feel like you're on a great path to get there. So keep on doing more than what you're doing now.
Jeffrey, thank you.
Couldn't agree more.
You haven't
Yeah.
answered the question.
I haven't. I'm getting there.
Doesn't matter. This podcast.
Ashley, as for you, you are a sophomore, and like you're
That's it.
You're a sophomore. Next. That's funny.
I look up to you as a sophomore, I guess.
Well, no, that's the weird thing, because I feel like that's what makes it so odd, because I feel like you look up to people who are older than you, who are more like whatever, but like you as a sophomore, you self-proclaim that you don't particularly like adore being in musicals. Like you do such an amazing job, and I really look up to the dedication that you have to the role, how well you perform in the role, with your like the sheer mass of the role is like astounding. And I know it seems impressive because you're a sophomore and because you're like you're a shy person by appearance, and you're doing this phenomenal role. But like if you look deeper into like the situation that's going on, you've had this type of experience, you've built on this, so it's not as shocking when you actually look at your past. But like, regardless, you're still in an amazing place, and you are going to be in amazing places to come. Noah,
just throwing out compliments here. Like,
No,
wow.
I'm gonna cry.
Definitely speaking from the heart. Noah,
no, I got a heart. I'm speaking from it.
I'm the Tin Man in the music.
For those of you on Spotify, that's Jeffrey.
Noah, out of all of us, I think you're the person that I look up to the most in all facets, not in just musical. And I've mentioned this before on the podcast, in terms of dance. But like, I labeled this thing that I worded it beautifully in an essay that I wrote not too long ago. But I labeled this thing, which is not an idea that I conceived. It's an idea that I stole, borrowed, and labeled. And that idea is the idea, and I call it creation theory, I think.
Talking about God here.
Oh God, that's episode 9. Episode 9.
No, what was it? Harold, I'm actually going to look it up because I worded it so wonderfully. It's in my Leap bio because I've made it such a contributing facet of my life. But our long talks about creating things and the beauty of the world and about religion and about like all these sorts of like complicated ideas. You as a person, someone like I intellectually look up to, someone that I theatrically and successfully look up to, someone I socially look up to, and here it is: the spirit of creation. That's what it is, not creation theory. The spirit of creation, the fulfillment of making something beautiful out of something facetious. Facetious. There you go. See.
But I don't know if you use it right.
No, he said fatuous. Is that how you spell
I thought
facetious?
you were going to fascist. and I was like, what?
FATOUS.
That is not facetious.
Define silly, foolish, stupid, insane, nonsensical.
Oh, okay.
So the fulfillment of making something beautiful out of something that doesn't make sense, out of something that's meaningless, out of something that is irrelevant, but you're taking that and making something beautiful out of it. In pertain to like the universe being a chaotic place where not a lot of stuff makes sense, but the biggest like stand we can make against that is to make beautiful things for no reason all the time, for no reason. Like, I think that's a beautiful idea, creating that meaning for yourself and using that meaning to fulfill your life in regards to however the universe actually is in reality. But that's an idea that you helped me along to, and I've always aspired to be other people. I'm not really in a spot where I'm ever like satisfied with where I am or the success that I have or the roles that I have or whatever. There's always something that I'm aiming for, and for the longest time, it's been where you are, in terms of your social status, in terms of where you are, in terms of dance, in terms of musical. Like, I want to have that role, and the reason is because I've looked up to people, and they've helped me get to where I am, and I want other people to look up to me in the same way that I look up to them, because I want to pass on the torch of passion, and that's probably the biggest weight that I think I have, is trying to be a symbol for other people. Like, I can get there, I can do that, and then them bettering themselves in order to get to a place where I am.
Yeah.
Like, being a symbol of progression, I guess. And that's where, Ashley, I think that while you are that symbol to me, I also want to be that symbol to you. So it's very it's a two-way street, I think. So yeah. I don't know, and I've been trying to cater a lot to you. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah.
Like, I've been trying, like I'm trying to always like go over to you and trying to like know what we talked about.
Yeah, which I do have to thank you. You like come up. I think you can tell when I'm like ever upset with myself after rehearsals, and you always come up and you like compliment me, or you like you'll just be like, you're doing a good job. Thank you. Which I've been meaning to like thank you for like doing that, because I do get very like I guess like down on myself when like stuff goes wrong during the show, because I feel like it's kind of like on my back.
Sure.
And you come up to me and you're like, hey, you're doing a good job. And I'm like, thank you.
Yeah, I feel
Which
like
you all do, but like
encouragement's been a thing that I have lacked a lot of in my life, and I feel like that's helped me understand how desperate people are for it and how necessary a thing it is. So I'm constantly trying to encourage other people in good ways, not in bad ways, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What was the actual prompt?
Well, wait, hold on. So what's funny is you've told me that, and like I I very much like appreciate our conversations about like creating for the sake of creating and stuff, and like that's something that's been central to my life like in recent years. But what's funny is when you tell me that you look up to me, I think about that comment like while we're in rehearsals and stuff, and I'm like, I look up to Jeffrey. I'm like, I don't feel at all like I'm the one that like is like the role model here. Like I think like the way that you like approach everything, and like just for one example is before we started with the with developing our characters, and like the amount of attention you put into that, and the way that you carried that like that depth of understanding of your character with you throughout the process. And like, for example, when Cody took out some of your lines, you were upset at Cody, and I know it's because you had prepared your character around like on the basis of those premises that he removed from the show. Like he cut, like you thought you were standing there for like what, like 60 years or something, and then he moved it down to like 1. And you were like, well, this is a massive blow to my like character development. And I was like that was a very cool moment for you, because I could see how much attention you put into that, and you're very conscientious and very like mindful of everything you do. And I don't just see that in musicals, like I see that with everything. And so I see you as like, I look up to you in that regard. And I just think it's funny to me that you like, I don't even think it's as black and white as like we all like there are role models and there are people who are following them. I think it's we all feed off of each other, and that's and it like that's something that's attributed to like in one facet the environment that is theater, as in like the creative environment of inspiring each other, but just life as a whole, is that we're all artists in one way or another, and we're all like pulling inspiration from each other as far as who we are and who we can become. And I think that's something very special, that it's not just like us like looking up to each other or like looking up to people above us. I think it's everybody being on the same playing field and building off of each other and collaborating in beautiful ways like that.
I'm gonna treasure these words. I'm so glad this is documented.
Another thing with you, like I guess like reassuring me after every rehearsal, I've started like just like as I'm walking out of rehearsal, like saying good job to like everyone I've like passed, just because I'm like, we all need this like reassurance. Like after like this rehearsal, we all need to be like just like reassured that we're doing a good job, and I just like make a deal of like saying good job to everyone I pass on my way out. And, like, all the munchkin, like, the little kids, and, like...
Listen up, Malgadroids. Reassurance and love is free. Give it out to everyone.
Say good job to people when you're passing them.
It's so funny because I also look up to you, Abby. Because, so, when, like, looking at, like, callbacks and everything, you were not called back for the teacher last year that you ended up getting, and you were not called back for the Tin Man. Both times you were asked to cold read, and both times you got the part.
It's so impressive. Like,
there's no,
people
like,
who haven't been in a callback, that is, like, so impressive.
Like,
ridiculous.
if Cody asked me to cold read a character, I'd crap myself. Like, sorry to be vulgar, Spotify, but, like, just the fact that you're able to just go with the flow in front of people, and it, like, knowing that it's going to determine what part you get, and you're able to just slay it every time is so impressive, because not everybody can do that, and it's such a good trait for you to have. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's...
Dude. This is like the best time of my life.
So what is the draw? What's big draw to theater for you?
Oiling his
Money.
elbows.
Money.
Oiling his elbows. Oil my elbows. Oil my elbows. Oil my elbows.
Go to the musical.
Come see it.
You'll...
Lincoln by.
I think... It's probably been the symbol idea. Like, I've looked up to other people, and I want to be able to do that myself. And also trying to create something and creating a feeling for people to feel. And I want to be able to, like... It's not about, like, giving people a show that's worth their money. It's not even about money, because it's like, I'm capable of making you feel this way. Mm-hmm. And that's kinetic emotion that I have, that I can, like, entrance you with for this, like, whatever time. And I can do this if I really dedicate myself to a role. And I really, like, commit myself to knowing the ins and outs of a character, knowing the ins and outs of a show, to the point where I can entrance you for, like, 2.5 hours and give you emotions that you wouldn't have been able to feel like, any other way. Like, if you've seen a musical before, it's also a unique emotion. I don't want to say
you walk away feeling something every time.
Yeah.
Whether
I don't want
it's
to say,
good
like,
or bad.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm going to say, there's some musicals that I've been to that I've been like, it was a bad show, but like I've been like I had a feeling just by seeing live performances and like I don't know, just it means something to me, and I like being able to do that and create once again the spirit of creation, creating something for no reason and creating order out of the chaos. I think that's beautiful, but probably predominantly it's I want people to follow my footsteps and do the same thing and also put on good shows for other people to feel similar emotions. That's my thing.
Yeah, I feel that.
That's why I'm always nervous about this year, because it's like when we leave, like I want the theater program and the arts program to thrive.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm nervous to see where it goes afterwards. But I mean, I'm excited for you guys.
I'll keep you
I'm
all
nervous
updated.
to see how.
We'll keep you updated.
I mean, I feel like everyone's also worried about that. Like, your upperclassmen are worried about how you would do, and you're doing awesome. And the same thing will happen to Ashley. Yeah. Ashley will worry about the freshman one day, unless she doesn't. Whatever. I'm not.
Because I mean, at the end of the day, we all want to see it succeed. Yeah. We all want to see
Exactly.
the program go on for as long as possible, and so it's like you know, we look out for each other.
Yeah. I think this episode was interesting because it was less of a like. Normally, it's just Max and I, and it's a conversation, and then we have one guest, and it's like a conversation. But then this time it was like an interview, and then it devolved into like
Compliments.
awesome time. Awesome time.
Awesome good
Said,
feels.
and you, my sentimental friend.
I encourage you to do this with your friends and compliment them on things that or just give them a phone call. Call people that you love and tell them why. Like, that sounds so stupid and meaningless, but it has so much meaning. Like, the emotions that I just felt were unparalleled to anything I felt, I think, ever. To have, like, people who I've, like, looked to as my, like, ghost mentors tell me that, like, they're looking up to me and that they're counting on me to do, like, an amazing job, that means words don't do justice.
Uh-oh.
And that's that.
What timing?
Don't do it on YouTube though, because this is our.
Don't do it on YouTube. Yeah, we can't have competition for malgam. Yeah, we are the leading high
We're actually
school
gonna get rid of
podcast.
all other podcasts.
You can't have my one
You're gonna-
Broadway account. Or what is it? The
The what?
Broadway, whatever you use. I was referencing you.
Oh, the Broadway HD.
Yeah, you can't have my Broadway
you can't have
account.
the Broadway
Any final sentences?
Did
Anyone
you
want
guys
to
watch
say?
American Oz? Because I haven't.
No, I haven't. I meant to do that.
that?
I meant to do that.
Remember Cody
That's
was
the
like,
Cody
everyone
airdrop
should
He
to
wanted
us.
us. Cody wanted us to watch.
Shoot! Wait, we were supposed to
I didn't watch it. I forgot.
I meant to do that 3 weeks ago.
Matthew sent it to me 3 weeks before Cody sent it to all of you, and he was like, "I think you should watch it." I was like, "Okay, Matt, I will."
I watched 5 minutes.
I
and
forgot
fell
he
asleep.
even sent that to
Dang.
us.
It's back to the thing. I don't have time
Yeah.
to watch that.
Yeah, how are we supposed to watch a whole?
Yeah.
I was like,
It's like
what?
almost 2
I can barely
hours.
get like 3 pages
have
of
time.
dialogue memorized.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
well,
I
to
watched the video. Yeah. Hi, Cody.
Yeah,
I watched
Cody,
the video.
Cody
we watched
watched
the video.
So this was just a skit, and we watched.
Yeah, we watched
it.
Codes, is that right? Codes.
Codes. We'll all
Sorry,
get
what were you
together.
gonna
We'll all get together after musical and watch it.
We
Yeah.
could do a
And also
That'll do a
watch
lot
Return.
for the show.
Yeah, we'll also watch Return to Oz.
No, we
Oh
won't.
my gosh.
Oh my god! Jack the Pumpkinhead.
All right, final
I'm
words.
gonna watch it.
Yeah,
Max, anything?
Scary.
Actually, now we're gonna skip Max. Ashley, anything you want to
Rest
say
in
while
peace,
you have
Max.
the limelight?
Max has been chilling this episode.
this was so much fun. I think I learned stuff about myself and how I perceive myself. I now I want to I'm wait when I was talking about how I play characters who myself but bigger. I'm wait, I that's it. That's what I do. That's why I like this.
Yeah.
Can we quote that?
Sure.
Malcolm changes people.
Malcolm.
Can't quote it actually.
I'm patenting it. It's mine. It is copyrighted. It belongs to me.
Hunter.
What do you think?
I guess my final remarks is I'm glad that we did this because I feel like it will help us not only as friends on stage because we have to form a connection on stage. I feel like it's also helped form a connection off stage, a stronger connection for all of us. And obviously come see the musical at Hempfield running the first weekend of March.
4, 5, 6.
4, 5,
4, 5, 6. And if you're a senior citizen, come Thursday night.
3,
You're
4, 5,
old.
6.
3, 4, 5,
We have
6.
there's no way we have an elderly audience. There's no way.
Well,
My
that's the only way you can
parents
get
don't
in. Oh.
Noah.
Well, nobody's gonna ask you how old you
No,
are. So
nobody's gonna
just
card you at the door. Can you imagine they card you at the door? It's like, hey, you 65? Hey, come through, sir.
Get out, Sally.
Hey, you're only 40? Goodbye. Come tomorrow.
I already told you this, but when I watched episode 6,
Malcolm on
Third plug
Spotify.
in the
that was like more than 3. When I watched episode 6, I told Jeffrey, it's very cool how you can have this platform, and this is an art form, to talk honestly is an art, like now, and to have candid conversations about life is almost as fulfilling, or just even more fulfilling as like creating and doing anything else, and has as much meaning. And I think that this is cool. Like, Malgam is cool, and it's not. It doesn't matter. Like,
We're gonna quote that.
It's cool because it doesn't matter. It's not driven by like. I mean, at times you're like catering the viewers as far as like what'll get you the most views, but it's not even about that. Like you said, it's about documenting like how you feel, and like it's about like one of my other biggest things in life is trying to be more aware and like mindful and present, and like for just in the case of this, like soak up my last year here and like soak up these experiences, and being able to reflect and have a space to reflect when our lives are so busy, and when our lives are so like we lose track of things even when they aren't busy, or just lose track of ourselves. It's very important to have something that keeps you so grounded, and just by sharing thoughts and like having a community to share thoughts. And that's something that we might be losing touch of today. I'm not going to get into that. I want to sound like the old like grumpy guy. It's like, oh, we're losing like touch of things. Yeah, but I do think it's a very cool thing and a very necessary thing to like have conversations with people like this, and to just be open. And you can quote me all you want on that.
That's what I was gonna say.
Malgam is cool.
No matter how many years go on past today, you will always be able to look back potentially on this video.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was gonna say
Keep
that
that
too.
in mind.
Posterity. If you're
Yeah.
30 years old and you're like, remember that musical? Remember Max and Jeffrey? Remember Jeffrey's like famous now? How Max is dead?
So that's gonna do it for episode 8.
Smoke overdose.
Whoa.
See you guys. See you guys.
Oh my gosh.
Oh god.
Nice. Do I hit pause? Do I clap again?